Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something fascinating and honestly a little unsettling. It's all about how we connect, or maybe more to the point, how we don't, in this modern world of ours.
All right, let's just jump right in with a huge question. It's one that philosophers and sci-fi fans have been kicking around forever. Is our world a simulation? You know, that big cosmic idea about the nature of reality itself?
But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, that's the wrong question to be asking. What if getting bogged down in the physics of it all, whether we're all just ones and zeros in some giant computer, is making us miss a simulation that's happening right in front of our faces? Because the real simulation, well, that might just be society itself. And that's what this explainer is all about. The idea that we're simulating the most basic, most human parts of our lives. Things like friendship, family, even our sense of belonging.
So, the simulated society, a global crisis of disconnection. To really get our heads around how we ended up here, we've got to start with the root cause, the thing that's fueling this whole trend. And it's something a lot of us feel, a deep, growing loneliness.
And here's the crazy paradox of our time, right? We've never been more connected. I mean, we have the whole world in our pockets, but at the same time, we're feeling more and more disconnected on the inside. It makes no sense. Or does it? And whenever that feeling of loneliness grows, well, simulations start to pop up. It's like basic economics. This huge emotional void creates a market, a demand for fake versions of the real connections we're craving. When the real deal feels too hard or just isn't there, we naturally start looking for a substitute.
And this brings us to loneliness for sale, the rise of the social surrogate market. Make no mistake, this isn't some tiny niche thing. We're talking about a massive, booming global industry, and the ways it's showing up around the world are, well, they're pretty fascinating and frankly, kind of startling.
I mean, just look at this. It's incredible how different places are turning connection into a commodity. In Japan, you can literally rent a family for a day, or hire people to be guests at your wedding. In the US, it's things like AI companions, or even friendship as a service. Yeah, that's a real thing. The UK has similar stuff, like rent-a-friend services. The bottom line is the same everywhere. That fundamental human need for connection is being packaged and sold like any other product.
The psychology of pretense, why we choose the artificial. Okay, so this begs a massive question, right? Why on earth would anyone choose these simulations, especially when, real people are out there? What's the psychological pull? Why is the artificial so appealing?
Well, it really boils down to a simple trade-off. Think about it. Real relationships, they're messy. They demand vulnerability, patience, they're emotionally complicated. But simulated relationships, they offer the exact opposite. You get control instead of vulnerability. You get convenience instead of patience. And you get a predictable, safe experience instead of all that emotional complexity. It's connection on easy mode. And when you lay it out like that, you can totally see the appeal, can't you? A simulated partner is never going to argue with you. A simulated friend will never disappoint you. And a simulated family, they'll never abandon you. It's the promise of a relationship with none of the risk, the ultimate emotional safety net. But of course, there's a catch. This cost of comfort, what we lose in a simulated world, it's huge. All that convenience, all that safety, it comes with a pretty steep and often hidden price tag. See, when we start replacing real companionship with simple transactions, we risk forgetting what genuine, imperfect human bonds even feel like. It's like a muscle. The skills you need for real relationships, empathy, compromise, forgiveness, if you don't use them, they start to fade. We forget how to handle the beautiful, chaotic, messy reality of just being with other people. And this quote really nails it. Simulations offer comfort, but they cannot offer connection. That's the key right there. Comfort is easy, it's safe, but it is not the same thing as the real deep connection that we are all, as human beings, literally hardwired to crave. So where do we go from here? Returning to the real, the radical act of choosing authenticity. How do we actually push back against this? Is it possible to find our way back and reclaim something real? Well, the first step is to completely change our goal. We have to stop chasing perfect relationships. They don't exist. Instead, we should be aiming for authentic relationships. Connections that are real, not perfect. A place where you don't have to pretend or put on a show. You can just be. And what does that look like in the real world? It means choosing this
over this. Not the paid friend, but the colleague who actually stops and checks in on you. It's about valuing those small, genuine moments from people who are already in our orbit, instead of paying for a simulation of friendship. One is just a transaction. The other? That's a real human connection.
And it's not just about friends, it's about this. Not this. Instead of the rented wedding guests who are just playing a part, it's about embracing the messy, loud, imperfect relatives who actually know you. Yeah, they might be chaotic, but they offer something hired actors never, ever could. Real, shared history.
And of course, it applies to our romantic lives. Choosing this, not this. Valuing the real person who argues with you, forgives you, and grows with you over the flawless AI companion that's just an algorithm designed to agree with everything you say. One leads to growth. The other is just static perfection.
When you put it all together, you realize something pretty profound. As the world around us gets more and more artificial, maybe the most radical, most rebellious act you can take is to just choose the real people around you. And that leaves us with one final question. This isn't about throwing out our phones or rejecting technology. It's just about being intentional. So, in a world that's becoming more and more simulated, what's one real connection you will choose to make today?